Two-day appeal for Adidja Palmer, we know him as Vybz Kartel, and his three co-accused, wrapped on Thursday, the 15th. The four plaintiffs are represented by a 9-member team, including Jamaican attorney at law, Bert Samuels, who is now with us to review the recently concluded hearing. So, King's Counsel, how are you doing this morning?
Sir.
I'm very...
So, you don't know. Bert Samuels is here, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls from all over the world, especially those Gaza nation, Jamaican, all over the world, those in Jamaica. Big up everybody. Big up all Jamaican. Big up all Gaza nation. Big up everybody who love Vybz Kartel. And also big up the haters them, cause even them interested in what are gonna happen. You see me? So big up everybody. You don't know from all over the globe. And big up the Privy Council for the hard work where them do for, you know what I'm saying, for try to solve the case. Hopefully them can come with a overturned verdict. And that the whole Gaza nation are wait upon. You see me? So for break it all down, we have one of the lawyers them right here sitting down. You see me? With TVJ, and I'm gonna break it down for you what him think are gonna possibly happen and what should happen. You see me? So let's see what them are talk about and see what the lawyer officer, because me don't know where gonna happen already. You see me? Freedom is a must. I know. You see me? No matter how them might try to go around the thing, freedom is a must, because them never follow all of the rules and routines and regulation. You see me? So let's hear what the lawyer officer.
Very good, but you've left my daughter off the team, Bianca Samuels.
Oh, my
she's
apologies
up there.
for that. Oh, is she there?
She was in court, yeah.
Oh, what did she say? Tell me what she said.
Well, she's
about
part of the preparation. Well, you know, she was very enthused about the jury point, which we had already argued before the Jamaican Court of Appeal. We were so sure that that point would have succeeded here.
And the jury point, let's contextualize for the folks who don't know, was the attempted bribery of one of the jurors.
That's correct.
In the face of that, the judge did what?
The judge said, okay, I'm just going to give them the normal warning not to be influenced by anyone, when he ought not to have done that. He ought to have removed the juror. But in 2015, the law was different. For murder, you had to have 12 jurors.
Okay.
You could have a minimum of 11, but you can't go below 11.
Okay.
So after 56 days...
Okay. So for those who don't understand, back then, when they had the trial, it was 12 jurors that was required. But they already got rid of one, so it was already down to 11. Then you had a tampered jury. So to get rid of that jury, it would have bring it down to 10, which it would have been illegal to have a 10 jury. So because they wanted to take the cheap way out, they didn't scrap the whole entire thing or even get rid of that bad apple and get a new apple. Or what they should have done is scrap the whole entire thing and get 12 new apples. But they didn't do that. So that's what that all conversation, that little statement right there that he said. So let's continue.
Days of trial, the judge said, what am I going to do, because I can't go below 11? But that's an expediency argument. It's not a justice argument. And justice is now coming to the surface. That's why we are so enthused.
So basically he's saying, you know what I'm saying, he's just going off what opinion, and opinion can come into the situation. You have to go with the proper procedure, which is justice, the law. You have to follow the Constitution. You can't go with what you think or what you want to happen.
What can happen here? Is it retrial or free, or there are
there are about
things?
5 matrix. You can have one. The court can say, oh, the evidence is so overwhelming, even with another jury they would have been found guilty, and we lose. They can say, oh, we find that, you know, something went wrong, but the proviso is that, you know, we can still have the conviction stand. And then we go to the third situation where, oh yes, it went wrong, but we want to give the Jamaican Court of Appeal, we're going to send it back to the Jamaican Court of Appeal to determine whether it will be a retrial or they will walk, they'll be free. So those are the...
You don't...
Okay, let's pause it right there real quick. One thing I'm going to disagree with, everything he said sounds good, but I'm going to disagree with one thing. He said the evidence could be so overwhelming, so no matter what happened, the conviction will stay? I don't think so. It doesn't matter how much overwhelming the evidence is. If the prosecution and the judge did not follow the laws and proper procedure, how to conduct a case, especially a murder case as that, where people's life is going to be jeopardized for a long period of time, you have to follow the constitutional rights. You got to follow the laws. You can't go around corners. You still have to do everything by the book. And if the evidence is overwhelming, why wouldn't you want to go by the books? Because it's going to be easy to have a conviction if you have overwhelming evidence. So I disagree. You still have to give the defendant them, no matter how overwhelming the evidence is, you still have to give them a fair trial. Because who says all this overwhelming evidence wasn't tampered or fabricated? You feel me? All the evidence could be fabricated and look overwhelming. So you still have to have a fair trial. The jury mind can't be tampered with. So I disagree on that.
I don't want a retrial. Why?
I want the clients to be free. That's why they paid us to do the best and get justice for them.
But couldn't a retrial prove that they can be free after a retrial? I'm asking.
Yes, but the baby is out. We don't want to put the baby back in. Why should we? We want them to walk. They've been there for 13 years in custody. They're hoping that.
Wrongly so, you're arguing.
Yeah, because they were not given a fair trial. A lot of people don't understand what a fair trial. A person who is guilty is entitled to a fair trial. A person who is innocent is entitled to a fair trial.
So that's
Exactly.
the point I wanted to make.
Yeah.
The sticking point for a lot of people is that
Exactly.
they've already decided in their minds that he's guilty. You're arguing that
Yeah.
guilt or innocence, everybody has a right
To
to a fair trial. And based on what happened with this juror,
Yeah.
and there's one other sticking point.
So back to my statement that I was saying, you see how he contradict himself? He said if the evidence is overwhelming, the judges could say let the verdict stay. No. Everybody is required a fair trial, no matter how overwhelming the evidence are. Still have to have a fair trial, because overwhelming evidence could not be no overwhelming evidence after you go through a fair trial. All those evidence could be planted, could be fabricated, could be tampered with. A whole lot of scenarios, so you never know.
Yeah.
That you argue, which was the other? It was the bribery of the juror.
There's
It was the
the phone.
lateness of the...
The lateness, so the judge had 56 days of trial. It's a Thursday afternoon. It's 17 minutes to 4. He had the Friday when he could have put them to retire. He decided, we're going to have them retiring at 17 minutes to 4 to consider 56 days of trial. And therefore, they would have been pressured to return a verdict. Oh, I need to go home. Oh, I need to go and pick my
that
daughter from
anomalous,
school.
Robert?
That's pressure. Pardon?
It's anomalous? You don't typically find a judge calling a juror back at that time?
No, the
Jurors
judges do not give jurors their case to consider at 17 minutes to 4. Because
Okay, so that's another thing. Even though this is not a big deal in the case, but it's kinda. After 60-something days of trial, and then when the trial was over, you gave the jury only 17 minutes to come up with a verdict? Remind you, check this out. This appeal right here, it's 5 judges, and they have to go over hundreds of pages. They couldn't come back within 17 minutes and give a verdict on it. They didn't even come back the next day or a couple of days. They planning to take a couple of months, which I don't know how long they gonna take, but that's what everybody assuming. So if 5 judges is gonna take a few months to decide a verdict, how come They took 17 minutes to come up with this verdict after this case took 60-something days. That wasn't right at all. That wasn't right. It looked kind of spooky, fishy right there.
Court ends at 4. So you're virtually giving them 17 minutes of normal time. So you're going to extra play. So what most judges do, once it gets like past 3 o'clock, they will stop the case, go the next day for even 3, 4, 5 minutes and give them the entire Friday to consider the verdict. That was not done. And why? Big question sign. We have the answers, but I can't tell you on the camera.
Peter Max, the lawyer representing the Jamaican prosecutors, said, and I quote here, even if there were irregularities in the trial, they did not result in a serious miscarriage of justice. You don't buy that?
That's so. It's not an irregularity. He sees it as an irregularity. Section 16 of the Jamaican Constitution, Knox does not operate in a country where there's a written constitution. In Jamaica, you have to have a trial by an impartial tribunal. And if a man is trying to bribe, that can't be a partial tribunal.
Yeah.
Facts.
I'm not certain you can answer or you would want to answer this. Is a suggestion here that these gentlemen are not guilty, or are you saying that it was something never go right in the trial?
Well, for you to say someone...
Let me pause this real quick. You see the question that he asking the lawyer? He's trying to find out what the lawyer think. Is these men guilty or you think they innocent? He don't know. He don't have anything in front of him telling him that these men did this crime. All he know, he's trying to defend his client from what the other side is saying. Because his client telling him that they didn't commit this crime. So what kind of question is this he asking?
One is guilty or not guilty. You'd have the divine powers to be able to say that. We would say persons are tried on the evidence and a jury of impartial jury considers yes or no, guilty or not. So the question of the search for truth is what the trial process is about, but there is a procedure that must be followed.
Exactly.
And all of us are entitled to that impartial trial.
Exactly.
You didn't answer though.
Well, I said I have no divine powers, so maybe that's my answer, if he's guilty or not. For example, on the question of retrial, we're going to have a huge issue because you know that
Exactly what I'm saying. The lawyer don't have no powers to tell you if the man is guilty or if he's innocent. All he knows that he get paid to defend this client, and his client telling him that he did not commit this crime. So with he acquire all the evidence that he could find to prepare that and bring that forth to the judge to fight the case and let the judge know his client did not commit this crime. So it's the prosecutor job to bring her case to the judge and the jury and convince them that they commit the crime. You feel me? If you ask the prosecutor, she gonna say, yeah, they commit the crime. And if you ask the lawyer, he gonna say, I don't think my client commit this crime. But a true lawyer not gonna say that. He gonna say, we gonna leave it up to the jury. I'm gonna present my case, and we gonna leave it up to the jury to decide. Yes, sir.
Voice notes have been in the public space, and a jury ought not to come into a trial who have been colored by anything that they have heard outside the courtroom.
So that was a part of
pre-trial
the
publicity,
argument, right?
yes, pre-trial publicity, and the conversations that have been held. That may mean that the court may say they may not be able to get a fair trial because there's too much information out there. They can't get 12 people, now it's 7, who can sit and say, I'm impartial. It's going to be difficult to have a retrial in our view.
Facts.
So you think,
Yeah.
you feel confidently that this is it, they're going to walk after this?
Well, that's the feeling of hard work and feeling of that justice was not done, and therefore to put them on trial again would be so. They got to find new lawyers, new fees to pay their lawyers, and stuff like that.
And what would the implications of this
Facts.
case then be for the justice system? What are the key
it's a
takeaways
great
on
case for the
law?
justice system. It tells judges now, listen, you can't do that, you can't do that. It tells prosecutors coming, you can't encourage the judge to continue with a case. That's what happened. The DPP herself went into judges' chambers and encouraged him to continue with the case. Or there was clear evidence that one of the members was seeking to bribe the others. And since then, that person has been convicted. He has been convicted.
Is the judge in this case?
Yes,
that
female Privy Council
no,
judge.
No, the judge that you're suggesting that the DPP encouraged. Does that mean the judge is a weak judge?
Very weak.
Well,
what?
you know, sometimes people can encourage you to do something which, if you were thinking carefully, you wouldn't have done it.
Them
Am
with
I
the
being
system.
too diplomatic?
Maybe.
No, I think you're right.
Them done with the program.
You're very clear.
But you're suggesting that the DPP and the judge did something wrong.
Yes, that's the
Definitely.
result. That happens from time to time. The judge, you know, you can win your case based on the misconduct of the prosecution. That alone can cause you to win your case.
Fox.
And therefore, we had filed that ground in Jamaican Court of Appeal, but they didn't find favor with it.
Forgive my ignorance. If the judge says free, what happened? Him just get up immediately and or is
Free
there?
What
right
happens
away.
after this?
You mean
There's a
if
next
the
step.
Yeah.
Jamaican
Free
Court of Appeal or the
immediately.
Privy Council say they are free,
Yeah.
they must come
Within
out
30
immediately.
minutes.
Immediately.
And if they remain there for 2-3 hours too long, then they can sue. And that's another thing.
Really?
Yes, there are persons who have been freed by the Jamaican Court of Appeal, and they took 3-4 days to release them, and they filed a suit and got millions.
So immediately means what?
Immediately, once the announcement
minutes.
is made that they are freed,
30
then
minutes.
a paper must be transmitted to the general penitentiary, to wherever they're being kept, and they must be released.
So if they're
15
here
to
at 10
30
o'clock in the
minutes.
morning, they're out by 10:30.
Yes, you know, pack your
See,
stuff and go. Because
definitely.
after that, it becomes false imprisonment, which is a civil
Half a be
wrong.
less than
And,
an
and
hour.
an added question to that.
Yeah.
If the Privy Council says, all right, something was wrong, do they now have a case to sue the
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
and
man.
they can sue the state for
Money
malicious
galore.
prosecution. They can.
and
Yes,
for
sir.
imprisonment?
And
Wrongful
no,
imprisonment.
but I know
I
Well,
don't know if that's
wrongful
what you said.
imprisonment is a little difficult
They've got
because
proof
it
that.
must take place 6 years after. But the wrongful imprisonment will be the 13 years in custody. Huge amount of money.
Yes, sir.
Huge amount of
So
money.
after this, if it turns out the way that you said, it's done and dusted, nobody can go back in and appeal anything or bring another this outside of your client.
It's done.
Okay, you mean if they win, if someone can appeal?
Yes.
Yeah.
No, they can't
The
appeal from the
DPP
Privy
can't-
Council's
the
decision
DPP
because
can't.
there's no other place to go. Okay. You can't wrong the
Can't be.
Privy Council.
Why are we still going to England?
Because we have mental slavery. We should go to Jamaican, to the court.
Because
Court of
Jamaica
Justice,
corrupt.
That's where we
CJ.
belong. Didn't it hurt you to see us up there before people that don't look like us?
I was wondering
deciding-
why.
Yeah, man. Ain't no need for wonder. You see me? There's no need for wonder why. You see the reason why? If it would leave up to the Jamaican judges and the Jamaican court system, the man them would have not get a chance, at least a chance of freedom. Because them appeal it at Jamaica and the same system upheld the imprisonment. Them never plan for freedom, man. You see me? So we can't trust them. The man them bring it, say everything was tampered with. The man that get a fair trial in the appeal. And them still upheld it. You see me? So you can't trust the Jamaican system. So I'm glad say the final say was not in a Jamaica. So we can't trust Jamaica to have the final say, cause too much corruption. It's a small country. Anybody can get paid for sink anybody. Anybody we are 8 pound anybody, any type of bad mind because on in a high rank, on can just sink anybody. Nah, star. You have to follow the laws, the rules, and you not follow the constitutional rights. If you was a follow the we could say yeah. If you broke the constitutional rights, you need for get held for that and prison for that, fine for that, something need for happen to Uno, cause Uno run risk with people freedom. You see me? If Uno can follow the constitutional rights, then it's okay for have the final court in there. And if Uno broke those constitutional rights, penalty for happen to the prosecution or anybody who broke those rights. And that now go on. So we can't have that at Jamaica until that can go on. We are going to keep it at England. You see me? So make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you tell a friend for tell a friend. Freedom is a must for the world boss. You see me? Mad love. And we out.